identifies as a Bear for life. He spent all 7 years of his NFL career with the Chicago Bears, 2013 to 2019, multiple Pro Bowl appearances, and he is the host of a podcast, the Pushing the Pile podcast, a CBS Sports NFL podcast. Kyle Long joining us on the Circa Sports Illinois hotline. Download the Circa app today. Kyle, how are you today? Thanks for being on The Score.
I'm great, Mark and Dan. It's nice to be on here with some familiar faces and some voices. I haven't heard Dan talk. I know he's got a lot of stuff in the barrel for me. But yeah, I believe that about the Bears. The soundbite you heard, and obviously the news that just hit our ticker yesterday. It does change things. The one question mark I really had about this Green Bay Packers outfit was their ability to have a true winner, regardless of matchup or scheme on the defensive front, on the edges of their defense. And now they get that and more with, obviously, they have their outfit there on the front seven. They can use Micah Parsons in a number of different ways. Think back to when Leonard Floyd they were trying to make him something that maybe he wasn't at that point in his career. They would use him off ball, over the A gap, over the B gap, a real mismatch for interior offensive linemen. So the Packers got that. And, we hate it. We hate to hear that.
Kyle, you know me well. I do have a lot on my list here to get to with you, and we're not going to get to nearly half of it.
He's literally got a barrel in here, too, like you said. Yeah.
It's a long list, but we have to stay on the Parsons trade for a little while. And obviously the obvious comp that us in Chicago are making, and even people around the league, is 2018 and the Mack arrival to Halas Hall at this time of year. What do you remember about what that arrival did? Obviously, it was a team at that point that was already on the ascent, but all of a sudden there was this jolt. And being in that locker room, what do you remember about Khalil's arrival?
Well, jolt is right. It was like Zeus came down off of Mount Olympus to go visit the human beings for a bit. Look, the guy apparently wasn't playing football for like 6 months, and then he showed up and did what he did week one. Granted, we lost the football game. You would be lying to yourself and others and me if you were to say that Khalil Mack wasn't the catalyst for that defense being spectachacular. Yeah, Vic Fangio's defense was already really solid. We were going to have guys who could play the game the right way, and we were going to be in a lot of ball games. But Khalil Mack made that thing just flooded with success defensively. And I think about Micah Parsons. That's really going to be the straw that stirs the drink in Green Bay. It's frustrating as a Bears fan, and I know people have a number of different takes. Ryan Poles should have signed him. I would argue this. Ryan Poles has a dozen other issues that he has to address, and the only way to address those issues is with money and picks.
Yep.
And quite frankly, this team isn't going to win the Super Bowl if you add Micah Parsons to it. Are they going to maybe win their playoff game if they do get in, which I think they could get a wild card spot? No, I don't think it's a Super Bowl team this year. And Ryan Poles has the foresight and stick to the vision, the patience. He's got the coach. They've got the quarterback. They've got other issues other than signing the most valuable player defensively in football, because along with that comes that price tag.
I love hearing your optimism there. And Kyle, I heard you when you said that the Bears could be a wild card this year. What makes you think that?
I think that because I take a look at the way that defense performed last year. I take a look at the way that Caleb progressed throughout the course of the season, the way he took care of the football. And with Ben Johnson's tutelage, I think that calming presence, although some people would say it's probably anxiety-inducing for Caleb Williams to have all this information put on you at once. I would say it's a calming presence. It's nice to have a guy with all that information and all that expertise. This team's going to be in a lot of ball games. Ben Johnson is brilliant in terms of situational game management, clock management. That stuff really matters. And we've seen some good coaches fall by the wayside because they're not great in those situations. You have to be great there. I think the Bears do win those one-possession games more often than not because of Ben Johnson.
Kyle, we've been drawn to Ben since his arrival here, and you just used the word brilliant to describe him as a offensive overseer. He's also been very magnetic as, I think, both a communicator and a competitor. What do you think it is about him that guys respond to immediately as he gets in the door?
You could always smell it on a coach or a player, for that matter, who is trying to be something that they're not. I think Ben Johnson's not going to shy away from being himself. He's intense. He's very bright. And one thing that I appreciate about him is he has that energy about himself. every single day. From all accounts, the guys I speak to in that building, he's the same guy every day and he's himself. So with those 2 points being true, you're in a really good spot with your head coach.
So when you were here, you were here for the first year of 3 different coaches: Tressman, Fox, Nagy. Every single one of them had initial buy-in. What is it that a coach needs to sustain that buy-in? Because I think at some point for each of those 3 guys, it started to go in the wrong direction, and you experienced all of those: the early hype, the early hope, and then obviously a little bit of a regression for all those guys.
Well, they all offer, if you're going to buy a vehicle, you look at a minivan because it has room for your family. You look at the Lamborghini because it goes fast. You look at the Raptor because, for reasons that whatever you come up with. Same thing with these coaches. We got Mark Tressman because we were trying to figure out how to optimize the freakishly talented group that we had in the offensive huddle. And when we showed ourselves that we could put up 35, 31 points every week, seemingly, in that 4-game winning streak, I believe it was my rookie year, to start the season, people were bought in. But then obviously defensively, some things happened. There was some infighting that was widely publicized. And then you get John Fox. And the thing that was cool about John Fox was his experience, his tenure, his demeanor. The guy was such a player's coach. Like, he made me laugh so hard every single day, and I would have gone and played for that guy any Sunday. And then we had Nagy, and Nagy was a rare combination of the John Fox player coach, the Mark Tressman, we have answers for all pressures and we will get guys open. And I'm kind of getting the vibe that Ben Johnson might have all of that and then a little bit more. And it's exciting. I've heard a lot of head coaches, as you alluded to, Dan.
Yes.
So listening to Ben is nice. He's honest, and so are his staff members. They interviewed Rochara in the hallway.
Yeah.
I was like, they should interview him every week because, number one, I would have hated it as a player if Coach Rochar was like, yeah, Kyle had a, what practice, terrible, blah, 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 or inconsistent. I would take that personally. I'm sensitive, but as a fan, as a media member, I'm like, put a mic in front of Rochar's face every week.
Now you get it.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's okay to come to the dark side. You've accepted the dark. You said John Fox was funny?
I thought John Fox was funny.
Do you remember the monkey that he had? Do you remember the monkey press conference? Wasn't it a monkey?
Yeah, Gidget the monkey.
Gidget the monkey.
He had a monkey with him at a press conference?
No, he told a long story about the pet monkey he had as a child. We'll have to send you the audio of it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
He was grandfathered into respect because his dad was part of the first class of the artists formerly known as Frogmen, now Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
And I always thought that was really cool. He told great stories, Foxy did. So it was easy to, kind of get your ear pulled in.
Yeah, I could see like where players would have the respect of a guy who's been through that, and just like, I mean, he obviously had a heavy success as a head coach in Carolina, and he came here, Kyle, and I mean, we're not going to stay in that year this entire segment, but he came here to restore order from the previous regime. So we all looked at it like, okay, the Bears need an adult in the room. I guess in theory that's what they were going for, right, Kyle?
I guess I wasn't one of the adults. Obviously, that's why they needed another adult. I was just a kid in daycare at that point. I was just a kid with some immense strength and explosion that was in daycare, and they took care of me. So that was good.
Kyle, you came on the very prestigious Take the North podcast last year before Caleb Williams' rookie season, and you expressed your belief and obviously what he has, all the skills, all the talents, all the things that had made him the number 1 pick and have brought him all the success he's had. With what you know about the NFL, with what you know about this league, what would you challenge him to understand in year 2 as he tries to take this next leap?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Don't put any limits on yourself, because when I watched him in college, I saw a guy with limitless ability. And there's only a handful of these guys in the league that aren't physical outliers that have that ability that's so special. Really the X-Men type powers. I'm not talking about Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, because those are just superhumans. Caleb has the ability, like Rodgers, Favre had it, just to make things happen. And he's got arm talent, and that always helps. I would just urge him not to put any limits on himself. Like, throw all the expectations out the window and just continue to get better because the sky truly is the limit. The marriage between him and Ben Johnson is awesome. It's everything you could dream of as a Bears fan. And look, I can't imagine how the city would respond if this team comes to fruition and is a championship team here in the coming years. It's going to be really special. And I'm glad I've been in support of it since the beginning. And I'll be honest, if they go out there again and he takes 60 sacks and he throws 63%, I'll be honest throughout. But what I saw from the Rook was toughness in the face of regime change, in the face of adversity. There were different guys out there protecting him. And he never threw his teammates under the bus. He got his ass off the turf every time, and he went to work. And I respect that.
Kyle, you've obviously been part of this organization and you still follow the organization, and you talked about this, how great it would be if this works out, because you get Chicago. But on the other side of this, one of the things that Dan and I talk about on the podcast a lot is this has to work out. Just because of the previous kind of failures at quarterback with Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields, and people have their opinions on Jay Cutler not having lived up to what the potential might have been. Can this city handle another first-round quarterback that doesn't work out?
Of course they can. Chicago can handle anything.
We're Chicago tough.
I think that's a real thing, and it's what drew me to the people in Chicago. But honestly, it depends on what you mean work out. Is Super Bowl what if Caleb is a 4,000-yard passer every year from his third year on?
Just the quarterback being good is what I am talking about. It doesn't have to be a Super Bowl. Maybe I've lowered my expectations. Just having a quarterback that's here.
Newsflash, Bears fans, your quarterback is good. Your quarterback's talented, and you've got a guy who's going to put the pieces in the right spot. Now we just need to see him grow from year 1 to year 2. There's no bigger jump at the National Football League from year 1 than there is from year 1 to year 2. I would say year 2 to 3 for me is where it really slowed down into Neo in the Matrix mode. But the game slows down in your second year. I think we're going to see that from Caleb, and people are going to be happy. It's going to be fun listening to Bear Down Chicago Bears every Sunday.
Bears.
Kyle, you said you can't imagine what the city would be like if this all came to fruition and they were a championship-level football team. But you can, because you were there in 2018. It's a year that Grote and I revisit often because it is the outlier year for our entire time on the beat.
Yeah, we don't do 1985 Bears. We do 2018 Bears.
So 2018, I feel like your perspective was as valuable as anyone's because you had been through some stuff before 2018. You'd been through 2 coaching changes. You'd been through some injuries, and the appreciation for what that success wasn't lost on you. How do you describe to people just the magic of that entire season all the way up to the final kick?
It was magic, and for a very long time in the National Football League, I was emptying my magazine on the opposition, and I was playing my best ball, and it just wasn't good enough for our team to win. At the end of my career, 2018, I look around the locker room, and I'm like, we are so talented. We are so good defensively. We're so good where it's important, and we've got the coach of the year, Matt Nagy. It was special, and it just felt like every week, if the offense didn't hold up their end of the bargain, Prince Amukamara pick 6 against Russell Wilson, Khalil Mack hip tossing Tristan Wirfs, and the entire locker room watching it on the screen, just in awe of Superman. Akeem Hicks doing the things he did, unsung guys like Eddie Goldman, who were just nightmares to practice against, but that's what got you ready. It was a fever dream. It feels like a DMT trip or something, because I had never experienced anything like it. It felt like it was gone in an instant, but it was special, man. It was special. Just imagine that plus. Yeah,
I mean, it was like the defense was legit elite and just enough from the offense to make it whole. We actually had Allen Robinson on yesterday, and we were having Prince Amukamara on later on in the show. I know you just mentioned him, but Allen Robinson, we were talking about that very first drive of 2018 against the Green Bay Packers, where Mitch Trubisky, you guys drive the ball right down the field for a touchdown. Now, I know things didn't work out in that game, but at that moment, I don't know how you were feeling, but I was doing sidelines for you guys. That was the first year that the swap had occurred, and Zach Zabin, I know, who was one of your buddies as well.
ZZ Top.
ZZ Top. Wait a minute. Oh, ZZ Top. I'm so used to hearing redhead names for Zach Zabin, but ZZ.
I'm not Harris.
that is. So I'm watching that, and I'm like, "Holy cow! This is."
Yeah, and then Aaron Rodgers goes to the locker room. They give him the boom boom juice, and he comes back out, does the sideline interview. Sounds like a Rogan pod, and then he goes in there and bing bang boom, the Bears lose.
Oh my God.
Just like, but for that brief moment in time, when Khalil Mack is running into the end zone with the football, holding it like a loaf of bread. Guys are getting home on Aaron Rodgers. We've got the backup in the game.
Roquan, yeah.
Felt special.
Cal, a couple of weeks ago, you were there with CBS, joint practice against the Dolphins. Was that your first time back at Halas since you left here?
I had been back one other time, but it was like 8:00 at night, just come in to see whoever was in the building. And then at the joint practice, obviously they're covering the Bears joint practice for CBS Sports. I got to see everybody, and I got to see a lot of the players and shake a lot of hands with the new guys and players that I'm a fan of on the Bears. It was a really cool experience, and they treat me like family. I got to see George. It was good to give him a big hug and express my condolences for his loss. But, I think Virginia would be very happy to see some of the things that are happening for the Chicago Bears.
I saw you did a facility tour on YouTube for CBS, which was really cool. Was there emotion for you at all walking around the building? You obviously saw the renovations to that building while you were there, and just coming back to the place that you poured your blood, sweat, and tears out for 7 years. Was there a little emotion walking back through the facility?
Yeah, 100%. And, you step on the scale, you're 305 pounds, and you're kind of like, I think I'm going to call my wife and let her know that I'm going to be a preferred walk-on here.
They do need a left tackle.
What's the NIL situation? It's emotional, man, because you can never go back. And the thing that I get emotional about is all the guys, the media members that I became buddies with, like, you and Mark, and Zach Zaidman, and then just seeing all the good that's happening with the Bears currently, and knowing that you'll never be a part of it in the way that you were at one point in time. And that makes you sad, but I'm also happy, and I'm happy that some young man is in the locker where I was, and he's had a tough day here on Friday, but he's getting ready to go have a good meeting. And I just love that, man. I'm part of a fraternity. They let me back in. It was really cool.
When you walked into the building, the offensive line room in 2013 is where the chapel is now. And I've told people that there are things that happened in that room when it was an offensive line room that wouldn't have been appropriate for a chapel. Confirm or deny?
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Out of respect for the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you what, Kyle. You are. I know you said it before, but I just want to reinforce it. You, sir, are a Bear for life. That's it, right?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're a Bear for life. 10 Bears. I give out Bears on a scale.
Thank you for your stamp of approval.
Yes, it's very important.
As Olin Kreutz would say.
Finally validated.
Oh man, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. We wish you the best of the luck on CBS and on the podcast as well. So thank you so much for coming on.
Keep enjoying daddy duty.
All right, boys. See you soon. Bear down.
Bear.